Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. This week is a special week for all of us. On the 17th, we celebrate Sri Krishna's Jayanti. On the 15th, we celebrate the 75th independence of Bharat. On the 11th, which is today, we celebrate Purnima. Right now, I'm in Boston for a youth camp followed by a young adults retreat. And since I teach most of the day, the only time I can jog is in the morning. So this morning I was jogging from 6 to 7:30. I did 9 miles in an hour 28, which is faster than I typically run because today's Purnima. The moon was carrying me. Have faith. And today we celebrate Raksha Bandhan. Bandhan means connection. Raksha means protection. If we think of this deeply, we've been connected to protection for over 750 days now. Satsanga, or community, is protection. Bhagavad Gita's chapter 2, verses 11 to 30 is Bhagavad Gita. This is the sutra, as in the content. All else is a bhashya, an elaboration, explanation. When we explored these verses, 11 to 30, I explained to all that there are 3 types or dimensions of reality. There is that which is ever existent. In Sanskrit, sat. Then there is that which is never existent. We call that asat. And I'm checking in with all of you. You can hear me and see me clearly because I don't see a lot of enthusiasm from all of you. You're sort of frozen. Then there is that which is sometimes existent, which we call mithya. That's more technical, more practically. Can you share with me what a gauge of reality would be? How do you know an experience, an entity is real? How are you gauging reality? Like they have tests for computers, correct? Is this a human or is this artificial? In self-development, a gauge of reality is independence. The more dependent an entity is, the less real it is. The more independent, the more real. In verse 4 of chapter 9, Shri Krishna shares, they depend on me. They is articles, beings, and circumstances. Me is divinity. So tell me, which is more real? The A's, B's, and C's, or the D? obviously the D. Shri Krishna, now tuning into those who are more passionate about the D, shares, they do not depend on me. The implication of this is don't even live for the articles, beings, and circumstances. They are dependent, which means they are not dependable. Everyone here knows that. Shri Krishna in these verses is encouraging our passion to depend on him. And in the 5th verse, he uses phrases like me and mama, which means my. This is my Maya. My Maya depends on me. Why are you depending on Maya when Maya depends on me? Shri Krishna is encouraging us to live more deeply, to live in a more high way. Mindfulness, intentionality is not enough. Being focused, being in the present is not enough. To live with vision, the vision of the presence. He is. All else is because of him. He also uses the terms of my Maya because many of us are extremely intimidated by Maya. She keeps harming us. She keeps holding us back. But Shri Krishna is sharing that she's mine. So have faith. You follow through Maya and you will reach or rediscover me. Have faith. I am her master. You will know that you're nurturing faith when you live more courageously. I described all of these words towards Pujya Swami Chinmayananda, an icon of faith, an icon of courage, an icon of follow through. This morning when I was jogging, I went with some young adults. And as I was reaching the end of my run and they were sitting, I told them they should say something nice for every lap to keep me going. And they were awful at it. Who knows what they were saying. And I told them that. I said, what you're saying is not helping. It's making me want to quit. But I'm not going to quit because I'm self-inspired. I don't depend on you. See, I prepared this verse while I was jogging. Shri Krishna gives us a visualization in verse 6. Verse 4 and 5 may be too profound for us. So he gives a visualization for us to keep reflecting on. Yatha kashastito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tata sarvani bhutani matstanityupadharaya. I'm going to read the English translation because this is an example. As the mighty wind, moving everywhere, rests always in space, even so, know you, all beings, rest in me. Are you enjoying these verses? Even if you're unable to practice them yet, try to enjoy these philosophically. What incredible teachings. Do you think Politico shares thoughts like this? You think you're going to find this on Instagram feeds? I guess we're sharing it on an Instagram feed, no? This is an example. whenever Sri Krishna uses examples, whenever examples are shared in a philosophy of infinity, please understand that they're examples, which means they're finite. All that is an example, all that is finite cannot compare or be equatable to the infinite. So let go of that logic. These examples are to help us to visualize. If I were a child, then this example really can make sense in a factual way. For a child, air and space are really the same, correct? Air is small space, it's above the earth, and space is big space, it's above the earth. Small space depends on big space, right? That's what Sri Krishna is sharing. Now, personalizing this, the wind is our thoughts. Now tell me, what would space be then? In this example, in this comparison. If wind is the thoughts, then space is. Come on, guess. Share in the chat. Awareness. Good. Awareness, as some seekers are sharing. Thoughts depend on awareness. Awareness does not depend on thoughts. Now, if we think of our everyday affairs, we are highly dependent on our thoughts. I have a stress thought, I'm stressed. I have a fear thought, I'm afraid. We have quite a bit of journeying to go through, quite a bit of follow through to reach that awareness. Pujya Swami Tejomayananda shared with us, obviously, that space is not affected by air. All of the hurricanes, all of the tornadoes, all of the typhoons that happen around the world, the earth is moved, water is moved, fire is moved. Is space moved? Did they ever share space has been crushed? Space has been tilted. Air cannot affect space. For us personally, that means we should try not to be afflicted by thoughts. First, try not to be afflicted by negative thoughts, then try not to be afflicted even by positive thoughts. First, try not to be afflicted by criticism, then try not to be afflicted even by compliments. And I have forever shared a way to get to this evolution to not be afflicted. You start with concentration. When we concentrate, then those negative thoughts, they tend to be purged. More refined than that, conversation. Om Ramaya Namaha. Today on Purnima, I was able to chant for 6 malas. Om Ramaya Namaha, 6 times 108. But what we're trying to build up to is contemplation. Those in the silence retreat, I define contemplation as observation. Just observe the thoughts. You training yourself to be a sakshi is so close to awareness. It is not awareness. I'm not trying to dilute this message to you, but it's very close to awareness. That's what we're trying to do in training in sadhana. Final reflection. What Sri Krishna is sharing in verse 4, 5, 6, and now the next series of verses is that he is the original. He is the OG. The original God is Sri Krishna. And that's why we An earlier word that described him was Adi. Adi means in the beginning. If we want him, we have to follow through Maya to reach him. Personally, though, if you want him, you won't follow through Maya. You will be distracted by Maya. It is when you need him that you will follow through Maya. Just think if you've ever been in an emergency, you've been in a burning building, or you've seen someone who's drowning. Do you get distracted by this possession or that person? There is a need. And so there's a complete immersion of following through that fire, following through that water to get to that person. From inspiration to application, you had a related application. What percentage of your achievements are small, as in Maya oriented? And what percentage of your achievements have been big, as in Sri Krishna oriented? Is anyone bold enough to admit their percentages? Here's my reflection on this. Throughout chapter 8, we had explored as you think, so you develop. Okay, I'm going to quickly finish. Please listen to the recording if you're missing out on what I'm sharing. If you invest in smallness, you're going to develop into smallness. If you invest in bigness, you're going to develop into bigness. Don't trick yourself into thinking you're going to invest in smallness and develop into bigness. That is a lie you're telling yourself. You have a choice to live for Maya Dasi, to be a slave to Maya, to be distracted by her, or to live for Maya Pati, to follow through Maya to the one who's the master of her. Your application for this morning, I want you to redevelop your relationship with the air, with wind. Now, every time you see, hear, feel the air, wind, I want you to automatically come to the reflection of thoughts on awareness, thoughts in awareness. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.